Okay, next I would like to welcome up Teresa Stanton up to the stage. She works for the International Institute of Communication and Development, the IICD, and is the country manager for Zambia. The IICD is an international non-profit NGO committed to connecting 15 million people in Africa and Latin America by the year 2015. She works to identify and develop ways in which information and communication technology, ICT, can be used to accelerate development in Zambia. Teresa's here to talk about her experiences working in ITC, in agricultural institutions and farmers associations in Zambia for the last 10 years. So, welcome, Teresa.
Hello, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. My name is Teresa Stanton, and I'm Country Manager for Zambia at the International Institute for Communication and Development in The Hague in the Netherlands. Today I'll tell you something about a specific program in Zambia using ICT for farmers, but before we go into this, I'll tell you a little bit about IICD. IICD is a non-profit NGO based in the Netherlands. Our mission is to connect 15 million people by the year 2015. And by connect, we mean linking them to the information that they need to improve their quality of life. It is our belief that ICT, information and communication technology, can be used to accelerate development. We therefore use ICT to speed up development in 3 sectors: education, health, and agriculture. Today we're working in 11 countries in Latin America and Sub-Saharan Africa, but this morning we'll focus on Zambia alone. Zambia is often described as a sleeping giant, meaning that it has enormous agricultural potential, but has not yet tapped into it. There are about 12 million people in Zambia today, and 68% of them live below the poverty line, that is, on less than $2 a day. Life expectancy is currently at 45 years, which is rather alarming because it has dropped from 50 years about 20 years ago. This is mainly due to the impact of HIV/AIDS. About 14% of the population is now affected. There are 7 main languages in Zambia, but 75 languages in total. And about 58% of Zambia's total land area is classed as medium to high potential for farming use. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Agriculture provides, is this okay? Is this clearer, or is there still an echo? This is fine. Okay, thank you. Agriculture provides livelihoods for most of the population, and there are about 1,000 large-scale farms and 1.5 million subsistence farmers. Zambia aims to be a prosperous middle-income country by 2030. At the moment, every year the economy is gradually improving. Until 2015, therefore, the government is going to focus primarily on improving the infrastructure and enhancing human and rural development. On the topic of rural development, let's look at the challenges for Zambia's farmers. Firstly, there's a lack of information about important issues like the latest production techniques, pest control, and market price information. Secondly, farmer associations lack the resources to regularly inform farmers about key issues. Distances are great in Zambia, and fuel is very expensive. Many organizations are not connected and have to rely on the very slow, cumbersome postal service. There are also very few mechanisms to share existing information, and information tends to be scattered and not stored in any central place. The Zambian Agricultural Research Institute, ZARI, another local partner of IICD in Zambia, has a library, but this is still under-equipped. IICD is therefore helping several agricultural organizations in Zambia to set up their own electronic library to make their findings and publications more widely available. But there's still a lot of work to be done. Research findings are unavailable or hard to understand. They're often written in scientific, abstract terms or written in English, so are not suitable for the farmers working in the rural areas. Also, There's only one extension officer for every 1,000 farmers. Extension officers are actually often the main source of information for farmers, and in Zambia, extension officers aim to visit every farmer at least once a year for a face-to-face discussion, but as you can imagine, this is really not going to answer many of their information needs. Finally, there are weak links between the researchers, the extension workers, and farmers. And the researchers find it hard to repackage their scientific findings in layman's terms or in the local languages, so that they can be easily passed on by the extension workers to the farmers in practice. In turn, the farmers have no way of providing the extension workers or researchers with regular feedback. In Zambia, we work with local partners and have activities all over the country. The map on the right-hand side shows where IICD's local partners work. And agriculture, as we've heard, is also very important to Africa and particularly important to Zambia. In fact, it's even represented in the national flag of Zambia, which you see in the top right-hand corner. The green colour, in fact, stands for natural resources agriculture. The red colour symbolises the struggle for freedom. The black colour stands for the people of Zambia, and the orange colour is for copper. The eagle represents the people's ability to rise above the nation's problems. Anyway, it's time now to zoom in on the key theme of the seminar in the context of the Zambian case study. I'll be using the example of NAIS, the National Agricultural Information Service in Zambia, to demonstrate 3 issues in IICD's work in Zambia, namely mobile phones, scaling up initiatives, and sustainable business models. First, mobile phones. NAIS and other organisations we work with are now using the mobile phone as a learning tool and to gather data in rural farming communities. Mobiles actually exploded onto the Zambian scene in the 1990s, and there are currently 3 main providers in Zambia: Airtel, MTN and Cell C. In fact, many Zambians own a mobile phone, and some even have 2 with different providers. Next, scaling up initiatives. All of our partner organisations like ZARI, the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute, and farmer associations such as OPAS, the Organic Producers and Processors Association of Zambia, provide locally relevant content to an expanding user base. Finally, sustainable business models. Partnerships enable IICD and the local organisations it works with to make our work sustainable so that it can continue past the pilot phase after the initial funding ends after 3 to 5 years. And institutional buy-in is also key. So what does NAIS do? NAIS is part of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. It is mandated by the Ministry to collect, package and share information to all of the key players in the sector, especially farmers, through the extension services. It does this via radio, TV, teaching aids, newsletters, publications and posters. NAIS is also the link between research, what are the latest findings that could help the farmers, and practice. How can these be made known to the farmers and then applied in practice? NAIS also feeds information from the farmers back to the researchers, so that in turn, the researchers also know which key issues the farmers need help with. NAIS packages research results in a way that they can be understood and used by farmers. It also feeds ZARI and the government with feedback from farmers. NAIS has its headquarters in Lusaka, but also research centres dotted throughout Zambia. It also organises radio farm forums that work as follows. The motto of the Radio Farm Forum is listen, discuss, ask. The farmers come together in a group to listen to the NAIS radio broadcast. They then discuss the programme and ask NAIS questions they may have by filling in a form and giving it to their local agricultural officer. However, this is also often a very slow process. Therefore, in 2002, IICD began working with NAIS to strengthen the agricultural information flow and dissemination system in Zambia. The idea was to find ways in which NICE could use ICT to improve and mainly speed up the flow of information to and from farmers. Mainly to accelerate, in fact, what NICE already had in place. ICT, particularly the SMS messaging system developed by NICE together with SMS SIZE, a local technical organisation, plays a major role in the project. I'd like to share a small video with you now from Zambia. I'll just try to make the connection. And this shows one of the farmers in Zambia explaining her experiences after listening to the radio program and how it actually helped her.
The most positive things I'm speaking about is what we have learned. We have learned a lot from Great Farm Pola. We have learned a lot of things, but we don't do them because of limited resources. Yesterday we learned through Great Farm Pola about drying of vegetables, but we have no means, no machines of using how to dry the vegetables.
Okay. So bali twebaji mufiro kubonfya solar drying vegetable. That work what are you for?
They told us that you can use solar drying vegetables, but we don't have it here.
Twalikwata emisalo oyo balela ndokwanika kibwawa kalembula katapa elo mango inkonde na fibiko ifyapala magwava tikwanika nomba teti tukwanishe but fingi kuno but fila ona ikafye pantu tatoa kwatia yeye ni mashini ya kwani.
We have different types of vegetables, fruits, and what have you, but they are only being wasted because we have no means of drying them.
So kanshi twalomba ko kwafirisha ngakuti batipera kwakabo afirisha kanono pakuti naifo twala ikola kopanda bantu bala ndilo kuti lenda amesha abamo shingi ngamwashitisha kulwa tukalira.
We are therefore asking for your assistance or any assistance that we can be using these things, but we have no means of buying them. I think this is what I have. I thank you people who have visited us.
Thank you very much. So this video was filmed with a mobile phone, and it's a way of showing how the local communities can formulate their own needs. However, what's perhaps interesting for you is when you listen to Joyce speaking, the problem was not producing enough crops. The problem was actually what to do once the crops were harvested, how to dry them effectively. And as she pointed out, a lot of the crops were actually wasted because of a lack of information or a lack of means to dry them effectively. What we're also finding in Zambia is that we really need to boost the skills of many farmers to move into food processing as well and preservation. This is also a way to help them to improve their income. So it's not just a question of producing more, it's what to do when the crop is actually harvested too. Phase 1 of the NICE project was all about improving the internal flow of information at NICE with the help of ICT. And this was done by providing NICE headquarters and its district centres with computer equipment and training the staff to use it. This actually helped NICE to improve and speed up its information sharing system and strengthen its links with researchers and extension workers at other organisations in the sector, such as ZARI, the Swedish Cooperative Centre, SCC, and the Zambian National Farmers Union, ZNFU. Thanks to their new skills, NICE staff can now collect and share information with the farming community more quickly and efficiently, and in more suitable formats. At NICE, the SMS messaging platform is phase 2 of the project. It was developed by NICE with support from IICD and a local technical partner called SMS Size. The platform actually enables farmers to send any questions they have by SMS to extension workers and experts at NICE. The farmers then receive answers to their questions very quickly, within 24 hours. In the past, it could take as long as 2 months before they received an answer to their question, as they depended on the postal service. The added value for the NICE radio programs is that NICE analyses all the different questions it receives and then spots which questions keep coming up time and again and from which area. It then uses this information to decide on themes for its radio programs, which it then broadcasts to farmers in the 7 major languages of Zambia. The radio programs are also used to share the research findings of the scientists. Another long-term benefit of the platform is that it can use the data to track patterns. This will also help to inform the agricultural policymakers and government about the needs and concerns of farmers on the ground. So how does it all work in practice? Farmers simply type NICE, N-A-I-S, on the message pad of their mobile phone. Then they type in the language code, EN for English, BE for Bemba, in one of the 7 major Zambian languages. They then ask their question in about 160 characters and send the question then to the number 3009. What are the challenges at the moment? It costs a farmer about 900 Zambian kwacha at the moment to send one SMS. This works out at about 18 US dollar cents and is quite expensive for a farmer. However, efforts are being made by NICE to persuade ZIGTA, this is the communication authority in Zambia, to waive this fee and give NICE a free shortcode. This will really make a difference to the farmers. Another challenge is that the service is currently only available through one provider, through Airtel. However, the service will be available through the other providers, hopefully soon. Also, the message has to be brief. So let's look at some of the benefits now. Firstly, timeliness. Farmers receive answers to their questions within 24 hours. And in the past, this could take up to about 2 months using the local postal service or simply asking the extension officer to pass the question on to the scientists. Also, the feedback loop shows NICE which questions keep on popping up. It uses this to identify useful themes for its radio broadcasts. Traceability is also a great benefit. The government and other research institutions will eventually be able to see patterns. Which farmers are asking what questions, and is this linked to a specific region or a specific crop? Finally, improved farming practices. Quick answers will help the farmers enormously. In the past, answers often arrived too late to save a crop or solve a problem. Finally, IICD recommends the following approaches to ensure long-term sustainability. First and foremost, involve the end users in the project design process using a participatory approach, and also aim to integrate the activities at the institutional level so that when you finally pull out, they are part and parcel of the organisation's day-to-day routine. To achieve this, it's essential to get buy-in from both management and staff from the start. At NICE, IIC did this by having quite a few series of awareness-raising sessions to sensitise staff and managers to the benefits, the long-term benefits that ICT can bring. Secondly, obtain buy-in from the key players, especially those who might be in a position to support the project activities further, such as government, the National Communications Authority, SIGTA in the case of Zambia, private sector organisations. Embassies can also be a great source of advice and guidance. Third, include regular training and ensure that there is funding to renew equipment regularly if possible. Make sure that this is included in the institution's budget. Set up ongoing learning and knowledge sharing mechanisms. This is also key, we found. Therefore, IICD always helps to set up a national information sharing network in all the countries in which it works. In Zambia, the eBrain Forum and One World Africa currently coordinate a lot of knowledge sharing activities about ICT for development among the partner organisations with which we work. The iConnect platform also encourages South-South exchange. Lastly, combine different types of ICT. There's no such thing as one solution for all. We found that a combination of radio, websites, mobile applications can really have a tremendous impact. Finally, I'd like to end this presentation with some inspirational words from Mr. Darlington Kailu, a journalist and extension worker at Anais. Success is not how much you have, but how many people you have helped achieve success. This sums up NAIS's work and lies at the heart of IICD's approach. I therefore invite all of you here today to link up with IICD and join us in our efforts to connect 15 million people by the year 2015. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Stay up here in case we've got some questions. I just have one question to start off. What would be your advice to as a kind of a pilot phase service that's been started in Zambia, for example? How can they get taken seriously by the network providers and the government? What advice would you give them?
Thank you for that question. One thing that NAIS did that was very effective was before it went public with the launch of the SMS platform, it actually asked for an audience with the permanent secretary at the ministry and with the directors of the main departments. And once they demonstrated the SMS platform and showed the potential, what it could do, the permanent secretary was on board, the directors were on board. They're really behind this now, and they're actually working closely with NAIS to help them get the free shortcode. So I think it's just demonstrating, it's showing people what things can do as well, raising awareness. Once people are aware of what the potential can be, what you can do, then they're on board.
Thank you, thank you. Do we have any other questions in the audience? Yes, the lady in the black and white jumper. The guy at the back first.
Thank you for a great presentation. I'm just curious about the social dynamics or maybe gender dynamics that you've seen in the use of ICTs. Who actually is using them?
It's across the board. What we try to work at very different levels. We also sensitize the ministry staff about the benefits of ICT. The proof of the pudding is really in the eating. And if we imagine our own work at the moment without ICT, you know, it's just unthinkable. In fact, we worked closely with the Zambian Agricultural Research Institute. When we started working with them, they had one computer, I think, and one modem. And the way they sent emails was that the scientists asked the secretary at the institute to send the email for them, and then she typed out or she printed out the reply to the email and handed it to them physically. Now, so many years later, they all have about 60 workstations, and they're just sending emails all the time. And somebody at the institute actually said that if a truck came and removed all the ICT equipment, their work would just grind to a halt. So I think the social dynamics are at every single level, at the ministerial level, at the institutions, and also at the grassroots with the farmers too. I heard actually only yesterday from Darlington, he was telling me that the farmers are really on board now with the SMS messaging platform. They're receiving a lot of messages, a lot of questions. Once people see what it can do to them, how it can really improve their daily life, their quality of life, then I think that is the difference. But it's at every single different level, and I think that's the key, not to leave out any of the levels. So across the board, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much for an interesting introduction. I have three small questions. The first one is that the farmer have a question and then they get an answer, and if the problem is a bit complicated, normally it is needed more a process of questions and answers until you get to what the farmer really means, and maybe to have some more assistance from colleagues and so on to get a proper answer. Do you see that? Has that been a problem at in this project?
That's a very good question. I think we're still at the early stages. I haven't heard of that happening yet, but we will be documenting those sort of issues that arise. The platform was actually launched in November, on 29th of November 2011, so we're now a bit rather 6 months down the line. But we're always evaluating, reassessing the issues, the problems, and I think when we see this sort of thing crop up, if it crops up regularly as well, we'll have to put something in place that will be able to answer the farmers' questions more efficiently and more accurately.
I have two more small questions.
Maybe just take one more question and then we'll go to someone else.
Well, then I'll ask you about the issue of tracking patterns, which of course is important. Have you any example of that case?
Unfortunately, not as such. We are noticing patterns at the moment. Also, what I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to do it in this presentation, was show you a screenshot of the actual that platform itself and the sort of questions that keep coming up. Perhaps later on when it's uploaded, I can access that screenshot, and then that would perhaps answer your question more clearly as well. And I would urge all of you too, if you have any questions, please just send them to me by email too. No problem, and I can also answer you individually. Thank you.
I know that Daniel will talk a little bit about traceability as well. Do you mind if we go to the email question first?
We could take that later on.
Okay, we'll take that later on. Okay, Karin.
Okay, thank you for a very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
You talked about, I understand you started in November 2011, so
Yes.
you're still in the first phases of the pilot, but you also talked about a sustainable model, as economically sustainable business model. Can you explain a little more how you think about that and how you work on that?
That's a very good question too. I think with it being economically sustainable, the key to this as well is having the ministry on board. The Minister of Agriculture actually sent the first official message to the SMS platform at the launch, and really our hopes are on ZIGTA, the Communication Authority, to give NAIS a free shortcode to make it really free for the farmers to use this SMS platform, and that would really help to make it fly, to make it sustainable. So we're still working on that. But at the moment, the farmers are actually prepared to pay the 18 cents, the 900 Zambian kwacha, to get their answers replied. And sometimes if the answer to a question can mean economic improvements for them as well, then they are very prepared to do this. We've also seen that through other ICT solutions that we've provided. For example, recently we published a story about the beekeepers in Zambia on a website, and within 1 month we had a large order from a company in, I think it was Botswana, for Zambian honey. So we passed that on to the various honey producers. So sometimes one small action, if you like, can result in orders, and that can really make a difference to the farmers, and that in itself, makes it sustainable too. So
We'll just take one more question, and then we'll move on to the next speaker. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Siraj from Odibru University, and thank you so much for your nice presentations. I've been researching on this agriculture market information service for farmers in Bangladesh. I'm a bit curious to know, have you noticed any kind of literacy barrier on part of the farmers accessing to SMS? something like
sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question. That the farmers accessing the SMS that
that. Yeah. Have you found any literacy barrier or any kind
Oh,
of
that's a very good-
challenges?
yeah,
Because
And we have found that, yes. And indeed, what we found is that the illiterate farmers, the ones who can't read or write, simply ask one of their fellow farmers to send their question for them. Often they will link up together. But I was talking to Daniel on the way here, actually, another speaker, and he also is working on an interesting initiative with voice recognition too, and we're using that in other IICDs actually working on that, on other projects in other countries. So this, I think, can also be the key to that particular problem too. So, but at the moment, in the case of Zambia, the illiterate farmers are asking their fellow farmers to send the question on their behalf, and then the other farmers will share that answer with them. So, but maybe voice recognition is the key to the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Round of applause, please.